I like this one quite a bit. It in a way that I like. Well, during the film, I was trying to figure out like what this reminded me of because this film is not like it's unlike other parodies I've seen. Um, but man, this works. This works in a very specific way. Because I was watching, I was like, man, what this reminds me of? Those like arcade. You also have them at home, but like they're mostly known as like the arcade game. Those kind of walk through, kind of this scrolling pan where it's like a beat 'em up kind of thing. Kind of like Street Fighter. And specifically the ones that it's like one player, right? You're like one player going. This thing is scrolling through. There's games where it's like automatic or it's like based on your movement and stuff like that. Hell, I mean even like those run throughs like maybe one of those Mario Brother kind of games, but specifically like the beat 'em ups, the fighting games where you're gonna scroll through and you're fighting. Kind of like I keep thinking like Streets of Rage because you have this one character. That's going to be a contributor to each of the, we'll say sex scenes, even though that's the thing about this film. It treats, it's sort of, it's big with the aesthetics, and there's a purpose for the way it's going. Like, it kind of has this, man, what is it? I want to say this right. Because what I liked about it, it's not like unlike a lot of parody films, right? Where especially with digital with digital photography, because you have these big blocks of sex scenes where you have around it you kind of have spliced in like almost like the story itself is just like stage dressing, and so this is very much in that space as well. And much like even in a lot of ways, even though Deadpool, you definitely have a lot of story going in as far as like Deadpool being a character off sex scene kind of character that's kind of moving around throughout the film being a part of that production. But with this one, it's a run through of pretty much what you got in the movie in the film that this is parodying. At least aspects of it, right? The story. And it's sort of like, well, this is the Kinsey Taylor show. I think it's her name, right? The one who plays Captain Marvel. Because this is totally her vehicle. It's interesting. I don't know. I'm sure I've seen her in other things. But for this, this is the Kinsey Taylor show. She's going through each of this. She's present in I think in pretty much every scene, thus every sex scene. Every scene was almost an introduction to whoever she was, whatever partner. This is what I mean, like the arcade aspect of it. I don't know if it's on purpose, but it definitely has that feel. You ever heard of those? Those kind of masturbation games, like those kind of fan-made kind of things, like Cock Hero, and it has that kind of feel to it, where it's like this is perfect for like masturbation. As I was watching, like this is kind of perfect. The it has the same sort of rhythmics as like those kind of porn parodies, as I mentioned, but I think what it is, especially with her performance, I very very much I think that she's kind of her performance kind of I think is the big selling point of the film. As not only as but because Captain Marvel, man, it's almost like a double entendre because because the sex. That's why I said the sex scenes, which are basically just the fight scenes. The sex scenes are the fight scenes. Every person that she's interacting with, like if this is we're starting at the start line and we're moving through the video game, like instead of it just being each level but you're going through this video game. Every scene, you're just introducing whatever her sex partner is going to be. And one thing that works, at least in terms of the pacing, and that, keeping in mind that this is for masturbation, is that it works also with masturbation, because it doesn't spend a lot of, it doesn't break up any of the pacing necessarily. It's kind of, it's getting to the bare bones of each of the, and it's very much a parody. At no point did I ever feel like the film was or it wasn't trying to be, even with Deadpool, everything is very much a parody. There was even commentary on kind of some aspects of the Captain Marvel film. Very much, much like how Deadpool is very much like keeping within kind of a fan service kind of thing. This definitely keeps that theme going, and also there's a kind of specialized continuity with this, because we actually see Deadpool present in this film as he was in that film, his film, played I think still by Seth Gable or Gamble, I think. We'll just say Seth, just to be safe, but still played by Seth. But so we'll go through. So I think collectively there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so yeah, I think that's about as the Deadpool 16. So 6 blocks of 6 levels. Let's say it's 6 arcade levels. Each of them is just like a display of her powers, which is just her sexual ferociousness, her sexual her sexual performance is kind of the makeup of a lot of her. I like that. It's actually quite. It was kind of. Once you kind of get into the rhyme of it, you kind of get into the rhythm of the film, and each of the people you're introducing, whoever Kinsey Taylor is meeting in the film, I think I'm trying to think. Is there anyone that she's not interacting with that she doesn't have sex with? I think everyone that she pretty much interacts with in this film, she has sex with it in some way. I think every person that she's introduced to, she has sex with, which again really works. So this is basically the Kinsey show. We're going through this story process with her, this kind of arcade process with her, and we're having these sex scenes. The aesthetics I really like. I like the production of it. Well, I like the production in Deadpool 2. As far, and going back to where I guess I'll emphasize that point about it being a true parody. Where I can say that Seth, we'll stick with Seth, just be safe. Well, where I can say that Seth is definitely a parody of Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool. This was, the thing is about Brie Larson's Captain Marvel is there was a lot of uncertainty of her direction. Not that it wasn't, whether it's considered good or bad. It was unclear what that direction was. And again, there was... alright, so I don't really want to get into there's this whole Brie Larson thing going on. I don't. It's not even so much that it's Brie Larson and that it's like people have a problem. There are certain groups within the internet that has a thing with Brie Larson. She has her own damn YouTube channel. That thing alone, and plus the money that movie prospered and still prospers and all that stuff, pretty much just reveals that like the Brie Larson thing issue isn't really that much of an issue. It's just that you got these groups in the internet who had an issue with Brie Larson. I'm not going to get into it too much, but basically those because they are pretty loud, those things are going to get back to producers in some variation. And clearly, I think in some way, I don't know. I don't. It was. It. I don't know if it's coincidence. It's not a coincidence that her performance is a bit like we don't really know what she was trying to do. I don't know. I when I was watching the Captain Marvel film, not the parody, but the film, Brie Larson. I kept thinking maybe it's like a is she trying to be what's the word, snarky? Is it like a is she just kind of a smart ass, like I don't know. And I really like Brie Larson, and I liked her performance. And I felt the same way about her performance, and it's almost like she wasn't sure. Like, was she given a lot of direction? I was just trying to figure out what she was doing, because in this parody, we definitely get a Captain Marvel, and it's nothing. It's definitely not. It doesn't feel like it's necessarily like a parody of Brie Larson's. In fact, they even kind of talk smack about Brie Larson performance a little bit. Well, as far as, I'm not sure if it's like, I don't know what came first. Is it because I know in general, as far as that performance, that is already kind of a question. Like, we're not really sure what she's doing. Generally speaking, I don't even know. I think most audience probably have no problem. I mean, but as far as her performance, it's a kind of a question, because like when I'm watching this film and watching this parody and watching Kinsey Taylor's performance, it's not, it doesn't feel like a Brie Larson performance. It feels like her personal take on Captain Marvel from the comics, which there was specific, at least in here, I think she mostly just talked about what was mentioned was just that she didn't necessarily look like what you would imagine a live action Captain Marvel look like. Brie Larson anyway. I don't know if it was like necessarily like a take on her performance or not, but you know, I liked her performance. It was I wish I can say, well, you know, with something like, cause, you know, Seth was clearly doing like a Ryan Reynolds, and I didn't even necessarily talk. I was saying that I can definitely see that Deadpool in that film, because it was an impression that I think a lot of people buy. This feels like it's hard to tell, but I like performance, and again. It's not. It's again. Each of the scenes are just introducing. It feels like a sex partner, which works really well for the way that they're going about this. Mentioning the Arcadia, all that. And I really liked it. The thing about this film is like, this is an airtight production to me. The only thing I can, well, as far as like, which I mean, it's basically the story that we see in Captain Marvel. She's just like rediscovering an image, an imaginative image of herself, which some might call the past, but like getting reconnected with her, with that her past image or whatever you want to call it. And as she's reconnecting, she's just sort of being introduced to these people that either have a direct affiliation with that image, or it's just someone that's going to guide her toward it. So, but we see him we just see him in these scenes, which are basically she has her, I don't know, like what should I say? Not even her action, I don't even know, like they're not even necessary. I mean, in some way the sex scenes are both like action scenes, but they're also like basically a way to, what's a good way of like, because it's somewhat of an introduction of her, you know what I mean? There's even the scene where it's not even that she uses sex to move from one scene to the next, or that's a signal for the scene ending, but also like the sex is the sex is basically just her showing off her moves. I'm talking, I'm trying to think of like each of the sex scenes and if they're the purpose, because the purpose of them being fight scenes is clear. It's just a question of, is there any other purpose that they use them for? Let me look at the scenes. I don't think so. I think they're all basically sex scenes, or they're all basically fight scenes. And I don't even know if we necessarily get to like, because like, all right, well, we can go through so like we have like a training scene, then she gets captured, and then how she gets out of that situation is through fighting, which is having sex. And then she ends up on Earth meeting Nick Fury, played by Tyler Knight, and that happens, sex with him, and then gets her. She meets with because in the movie there's like she meets with I don't know what is that the alien thing that I'm gonna use the word supreme alien figure, and they have sex, and then meets up with I think it's actually what's the daughter of Rambo, and she ends up being like, they end up what's her name? Her last name, I know it's Rambo, like her best friend's, which is Rambo's daughter. They end up, and I know she's like I think she's going to be in the Marvel. She was just in that. It's the same character from the freaking. Maybe, I think her last name is Rambo, so I guess we'll just say Rambo. She was just in that show that freaking WandaVision show. Yeah, so they have a scene, and then the last scene, the final scene, is a continuity scene, meaning Deadpool shows up, and then it's like her, Deadpool, and Lacey Lennon, who plays I think Jean, right? From the X-Men, Jean. I think so. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. So that, yeah, boom. And it's one, it's such an airtight production, so to speak. I guess in both ways. In that it's nicely and quick pace. This is why I mentioned like the whole cock hero thing, because it's not like you're masturbating and then you're kind of waiting. They're paced in a way where if you're masturbating to this, it feels like you're kind of getting to each of them, and the conversations just kind of get to those points, so you don't feel like they're trying to take themselves serious. It doesn't feel like they're. This is where I mean, like, it's very much fan based sort of way. Where I even think, because you had Deadpool, right? You had that impression, and I think he was basically in some way in the scenes, even if he wasn't like either there, he was somewhere present, at least in the. I think he was pretty much present for every sex scene, if not in the sex scene itself. But even with the Wolverine and the Lady Deadpool, well, I mean, that Lady Deadpool, but also, like, I think as that was just like a story being told while he was kind of there. You know what I mean? So still in the range in some way, right? And this, she's basically much like like that arcade character, going through each of the levels, always being present and always kind of being active in that. And you're going with her, and you're also, again, this is a Kinsey Taylor show, so this is kind of selling her, and I think that brilliant, very brilliant how they did that. Because if you weren't a fan of her before, I think this would definitely make you a fan watching this, because this displays her performance quite well. This is great, as not only does she get to be Captain Marvel, and then one of the consequential installments of Captain Marvel films, like the Marvels. I'm sure Axel Braun will also make another one of these, and who knows? I mean, with the continuity, they seem, at least with this, they have a special continuity thing. I don't know if this is like, we're seeing all these different characters. Like I mentioned that who I think was Jean Grey. That's her name, right? The Phoenix, Jean Grey from the X-Men. Is that because I'm sure he's done like X-Men parodies, right? So, well, this would be an X-Men parody. Well, Deadpool's an X-Men parody. But was he in other projects? Was she in the other one? I just didn't remember. No. But you get my point. There might be their own specialized continuity here, which I really appreciate. That not only is it a parody, so it isn't just like just taking, just letting those things guide them, but also they have their own sort of continuity. And it seems like, especially with, and again, with with Star Wars, and then seeing Deadpool now, Captain Marvel, there seems to be, as far as Axel Braun, there's a lot of respect for the source material, and this definitely, I mean, with Star Wars is like, of course, I think even someone who's not really a particularly big fan of Star Wars, there's a lot of material there that you can just kind of guide through, and it's just a matter of, okay, we're going to do the Star Wars thing, and we just kind of decide where we're going to place the sex scenes. That's what I felt like when I was watching Star Wars. Was like, all right, let's play the Star Wars thing, and let's see where the section are going to go, and give it maybe a reason why they're there, right? With Deadpool, it's like, we can do whatever. This is Deadpool. We can do whatever we want with Deadpool. They weren't. It wasn't even like so much. The aesthetics was the parody of the Deadpool films, but the story itself was their own thing. They were basically taking the character of Deadpool and then making their own thing out of it. With Captain Marvel, it's kind of I will emphasize that I'm not sure if they're doing it on purpose. Well, I like the idea of taking Kinsey, and having her be the icon for for the movie itself. Because it's not even so much that she's in every section. I think she's in every scene. We're just following her, and just it's and again, her performance, and which I think we can all agree, awesome, right? And the way that we're just introducing her sex partner / opponent, and kind of that's a good point. Maybe is there like specific, because like another thing with these as far as the arrangement, right? Because like with especially with things like this, you want to get like different arrangement, because like we have Kinsey training, literally just like get one-on-one, right? Uno how's it go? Uno mano wano. All right. And then you got the threesome thing going on for the second scene, and then we got like just like an oral scene, which is kind of sweet. For it was interesting too. It was like they were just Taylor, aka Nick Fury. They were just driving towards wherever the hell she needed to get to, and then she just gives him oral in the car, and then eventually arriving at the alien. I don't know what they call. I know in the movie they call him something specifically. I'm sure I'll put it on the screen now. But and that was special. Well, I mean, I think she's transgender, so I think that's probably spicing it up in at least that way. At this point, I'm not even sure if that's even considered a spice up. You know what I think at this point it's just like uh, um, a female who just happens to have a penis, and so I guess that I guess kind of works. I mean, it doesn't it plays into it whether it was on purpose or not. I don't know. What I mean is, I don't know if it's incidental or not. You know what I mean? They might have just gotten, hey, let's hire Audrey Kate because maybe she was in something we've done before, and it's like, hey, there's a good role for you, and it just happens to be, whatever. What I mean is, I don't necessarily think it probably does, but I don't know if it's incidental or not. I'm trying to kind of comment on the culture itself. So as far as porn, well, I guess everything is kind of considered speculative. I mean, we are talking about sex, and basically people are like different flavors, right? So I guess this would be a different flavor. Anyway, then we have, I guess, with Anna Fox, who plays, I guess we'll say Rambo Jr. We'll call her that. There was some squirting going on, and it's, well, I guess the second lesbian, this it would be right. So there's that, and then we have Deadpool, which is another threesome. And again, this is like a fan servicing. Not only are you having sex with people within the film, so like I'm sure people, the idea of Nick Fury and Captain Marvel getting it on in some way. That's in Deadpool and the aliens, the Skrulls. I know the Skrulls. I don't know what they were called as far as like the overseer alien that the Kree had to say. I know about the Kree. I know about. Is that what they are? Is there? Are they just like the upper the upper is the gold heads of the? That's what I call the upper. Whoever was, I guess, in charge of that of the Kree. Is that what you call them? Right. Anyway, the Kree. And so I know about the Kree. I knew about the what I just call them. Anyway. Yeah, I like this film. As far as the overall kind of package of Axel Braun, based on 3 films, and I mentioned this with Deadpool, like if I said that, if I didn't do another one of these things, that this was basically kind of a, I guess we'll call a shout out to the production and the style of Axel Braun. I very much like this. From 3 films, I very much I really dig his style. I mean, these are 3 different films I've seen, each having their own kind of specialized, we already went over them. Specifically now, with Captain Marvel, it seems to take its own take on it, right? Really emphasizing the Captain Marvel aspect of it, and utilizing her assets. That services for the porn scene. I'm obviously trying to figure out what else I can say about this film. So I'm kind of trying to maybe just talk about Axel Braun a little bit as far as his production. I'm sure he does other things. Obviously he does other things. That's not what I mean. I just mean what do I mean? Well, I probably said the wrong thing. Meaning, I was going to say something, but I probably said this, and what I'm trying to say. Well, I'm going to say it now. Axel Braun, as far as his filmmaking and as far as what he does, I'm familiar with, again now with parodies. I haven't seen anything else. Well, I'm not aware that I've seen anything else outside of the parodies. I'm sure. I wonder if this is sort of the way he goes about his production usually. I'm really curious to be. Does he do necessarily any I wonder if he does like a regular, I guess you can call them like regular digital stuff, or does he usually stick with stories? Not sure. I know more about, well, heard more about his. I'm not really sure which ones are his or not, but he's definitely, I think, very much known in this parody stuff. I don't know if his father did any parodies or not. I know he did like experimental films, and I'm not really sure. I'm not going to speak too much about his dad. 'Cause it's one of those things where with Lass, I'm not really sure. Lass is one of those people where like you know of him, like like, oh yeah, Lass Braun, great, awesome, right? Know about like the 8 millimeters, know about his 35, know about how experimental, and maybe seen some clips and maybe watched them. But like you don't want to speak too much because you're not really sure what you know, especially with Axel Braun. And I can say about a lot. This is a lot of territories I just haven't ventured into. Clearly, maybe overly, maybe that comes across. I'm not sure. Because I know Axel Braun. There's like a through-on theme that isn't necessarily associated with parody. It seems like he puts a lot of great deal into his productions. This is something I imagine is probably the same throughout a lot of his films, and I will emphasize this because I don't necessarily think this is what you can say about other producers. But my sense is, I imagine he puts a lot of production behind a lot of his films. Maybe, I'm not sure. In some way, and I don't mean like in terms of like big plot stories and big, like sets and stuff. I just mean like that can mean like just effort behind certain details, or really pays attention to aspects of it, and maybe people feel like they're having. It feels like a lot of everyone's having fun. I mean, with a lot of these parodies, but for this one, I like that he has his own take on it. That it seems like at least these ones, they seem to have his own take. Maybe that's something. Also, now I'm thinking about it. Did he also? I don't want to speak too soon, but did he also do She-Hulk with China? I know she went by China Doll but then I think she went back to China, and of course, she had passed away. But I don't know if it was his parody or not. But I know of She-Hulk, so if that is him. Matter of fact, maybe I should look it up, just so you know, because that would be going to another point, because that would kind of answer my question as far as having his own style and his own take on stuff. And again, what might go in more into his continuity, which because this might read more into his experience. So like going into something like Deadpool and Captain Marvel. It's not like he just has like a hot take. This is also coming off like let's see. This is okay. It looks like it. Let me see. Right, I'm reading the top, and usually the top has like Axel Braun in it. I'm pretty sure, and it's yeah. And that was Vivid, which was similar to the Star Wars, also Vivid, and now he's working with these ones, Wicked Pictures. Alright, so like he's coming into all this with experience. I wonder, like, okay, good thing I meant. I wonder, compared to like, I wonder how he's changed. Would somebody casual watcher of Axel Braun films say that he's gotten better, or like he's pretty consistent with his films? I don't know, but what I've seen. It's pretty awesome. Jesus, is that another one? Did he also do that? Let me see. Or am I? Never mind. Okay. I'm not even mentioning it. There was another China thing. I was wondering if he he did that too. Anyway, I really like these. I really like how they went about this film. Very stylistic, very much. It seemed, even though it is playing to the film is parodying. Well, in some variants, it's using as a guide, but it seems like it's going and doing its own kind of thing. Everyone seemed to have fun here. Seems very loose. Seems like it's very much just kind of keeping within. If Deadpool can serve, especially with Star Wars, you can watch the Star Wars parody as a film, as a parody film, but also as something you can masturbate to. Deadpool, you can definitely get you can get hell of a lot of entertainment out of Seth's impression, and seeing Deadpool and the production and get a kick out of that. And again, there are the big blocks. Well, there's blocks of, I think, like a lot of these films, a lot of it is sex. Well, I don't know. That's another thing. Because with Star Wars, it didn't feel too much like that. It felt like, there was blocks of sex. Yeah, maybe. There's definitely a lot of story elements into it, Star Wars. So you are definitely doing both. With Deadpool, kick out of Seth, and then the production, just the idea itself, I think it's something you get a kick out of. With this kind of this arcade style run through, well, at least I will refer to it as arcade style. I don't know if it's on purpose or not. I think it does both. Well, with her performance, yes, much like in Deadpool. In Deadpool, I mean, Seth also was doing this. He was doing the thing that I really liked about his sex scenes in the Deadpool film, where he puts a lot of himself, his impression, and himself, as far as his characterization, into him having sex. Playing along with his colleagues and that. So that's something that in some way I feel like that was happening with the way she has this kind of energy. Like she was specifically chosen because of her performance. Again, not sure if I'm familiar with her work or her other. We're not going to call it work. We'll just call it her activities, because I don't know what it is to her. Being really fair, we'll say we'll call it work for her. You're right. Fuck it. With her other sex scenes, other productions, I'm not really sure. I'm not really familiar. But I'll say this: for this performance, it would not surprise me if she was chosen specifically because of the performance that that seems very much displayed in this film. Because her energy, her very seems very kind of loose tongue, similar to Deadpool. Not to the extreme extent, but like. Not in that sort of theatric kind of way, but definitely sex generally. I think there's a lot of, with your lover and all that. There's a lot of theatrics in general, just because it, I'm not gonna get into it. Anyway, with her performance, style, you can get a kick out of that, and again, like it almost like goes hand in hand with her. Like her sexual style doubles as like you're getting a kick out of that side of the performance. It's almost like it feels like a sell for her. Like this is definitely a great effective sell for Kinsey Taylor. And I don't know what came last. As far as why she was picked for this, but great performance here. Continue and still definitely enjoying Seth. So clearly, as far as likeness to certain characters, as far as I think everyone serves well. I enjoyed everybody. Axel Braun. And you did. Anyway, I'm trying to think of anything else I can say about this. No? Alright. John Turtle Black Lives Meeting, and thank you.